I came back to my hometown on a quiet afternoon. The sky was grey. The air was soft. Nothing felt new, but nothing felt wrong. I walked along the old street near the station. The road was short. The shops were small. Some places were gone. Some places stayed. I walked slowly. I did not hurry. I had no plan. This town raised me, but it did not keep me. I left it 30 years ago. I did not think I would come back again. I stopped in front of a small coffee shop. The sign was old. The door made a soft sound when I pushed it open. The shop was quiet. Only 2 people sat inside. A radio played low music. I ordered a cup of black coffee. I sat near the window. I looked outside and waited. Then I heard a voice. "Is that you?" The voice was calm but careful. I did not move at first. I thought I heard wrong. Then the voice came again. "Lily." No one called me that now. Only one person used that name. My heart stopped for 1 second. Then it beat very fast. I turned my head. A man stood near the counter. He looked at me with wide eyes. He did not smile yet. His face was different. His hair was shorter. There were lines near his eyes, but his eyes were the same. I stood up slowly. "Tom," I said. He smiled. It was not a big smile. It was quiet and warm. "Yes," he said. "It's me." For a moment we did not speak. The air felt heavy but gentle. 30 years passed, but time stopped here. I looked at him. He looked at me. I wanted to say many things, but no words came out. "You are here," he said. "Yes," I said. "Just today." He nodded. "I live here now." That surprised me. I always thought he left forever. "Oh," I said. That was all I could say. He pointed to the chair across from me. "May I sit?" "Of course," I said. He sat down slowly. His hands rested on the table. I noticed his hands. They were bigger than before. They looked tired. The coffee smell stayed between us. "I almost did not call your name," he said. "I was not sure." "I almost did not turn around," I said. We both laughed. The laugh was short, but real. "You look the same," he said. I shook my head. "No, I don't." "You do," he said again, just calmer. I looked at my reflection in the window. I saw a woman, not a girl. "Time changes us," I said. "Yes," he said, "but not everything." His words stayed in my chest. Outside, people walked past the window. Cars passed. Life moved on. Inside the coffee shop, we stayed still. I felt something warm and strange. It was not happiness. It was not sadness. It was memory. I thought about the last time I saw him. We were children. We stood at the end of the same street. We said nothing that day. We thought we had time. Now we sat here, 30 years later. I held my coffee cup. It was hot. "So," he said softly, "how have you been?" I took a breath. I knew this question was simple, but the answer was long. We sat across from each other at the small table. The table was round. The space was close. But our words stayed careful. For a moment, no one spoke. I looked at my coffee. He looked at his hands. Outside, a bus passed. Inside, time moved slowly. "So," he said again, "how have you been?" I smiled. It was an easy smile, not a full one. "I am fine," I said. The answer felt small, but it was safe. He nodded. "That's good." Silence came back. I wanted to say more, but I did not know where to start. 30 years is a long time. How do you put that into one sentence? He picked up his cup. He took a small sip. "The coffee is strong," he said. "Yes," I said, "just like before." He looked up. "You remember?" "Of course," I said. "We always came here after school." He smiled a little wider. "I forgot how small this place is," he said. "It was big to us," I said. "We were small." He laughed softly. "Yes," he said, "we were." The air felt lighter now. I looked at his face again. I tried to find the boy I knew. I saw him in his eyes. I saw him when he smiled. "You look tired," I said. He did not look away. "Yes," he said. "Life is busy." I nodded. "I understand." That was true, I really did. He asked about my work. I gave a simple answer. I asked about his life. He answered slowly. No one asked too much. No one hid too much. We walked between the words, careful but honest. "Do you still draw?" he asked. The question surprised me. I blinked. "You remember that?" "Yes," he said. "You drew all the time." I looked down. I stopped. "Oh," he said. His voice was quiet, but I felt something in it. "I draw sometimes," I said. "Not often." "That's enough," he said. "You never stop being you." His words stayed with me. I looked at him. He did not look away. For a moment I felt like a child again. Not small, just open. We talked about simple things. The street, the weather, the old school. We said the teacher's name. We laughed. "She was very strict," I said. "Yes," he said, "but she liked you." I shook my head. "She liked you more." "No," he said, "she believed in you." I felt my throat get tight. I did not answer. The radio changed songs. The light outside changed color. Time passed without sound. I noticed my shoulders felt relaxed. My hands were warm. I was not nervous anymore. "I am glad I came in today," I said. He nodded slowly. "So am I." He looked at me and smiled. "It feels easy," he said. "Yes," I said. "It does." That surprised me. I thought meeting him would hurt. I thought it would feel strange. But it felt kind. Like sitting near a window on a cold day. Safe, quiet, real. I realized something then. We were not trying to return to the past. We were just sitting in the present. We talked more easily now. The silence did not scare us anymore. It felt warm. Tom looked out the window. "The street looks smaller," he said. "Yes," I said, "but I still remember every step." He smiled. "So do I." I pointed outside. There was a tree there. He leaned forward. "The big one?" "Yes," I said. "We climbed it." He laughed and fell. "You fell," I said. "Yes," he said. "You laughed." I laughed again. I could see it clearly now. The tree. The dirt road. Our dirty shoes. We talked about the river near the school. "You were afraid of the water," he said. "I was not," I said. He raised his eyebrows. "Okay," I said. "A little." He smiled like before. "You held my hand," he said. "Just in case." I felt something move in my chest. "I did not remember that," I said. "I did," he said. The past felt close, not far away. It sat with us at the table. We talked about after school. The bell rang. We ran outside. We shared bread. We shared secrets. "You always walked me home," I said. "Yes," he said. "Your street was dark." "I was scared," I said. "I know," he said. He did not laugh this time. I looked at him. "Thank you," I said. He nodded. "You said that before." "When?" I asked. "That night," he said, "before you moved." My breath stopped. I remembered that night. Boxes in the house, the door open, the light on. I stood outside with him. "I will come back," I said. "You promised," he said. "I did," I said. We both went quiet. "I waited," he said softly. I felt my eyes get wet. "I was young," I said. "I did not know how to come back." "I know," he said. "I was young too." The radio played low music. No one moved. I looked at my hands. They shook a little. "I thought you forgot me," he said. I looked up fast. "No," I said. "Never." My voice broke. I took a breath. "I thought about you many times," I said, "when I felt alone." He looked at me. His eyes were kind. "I did the same," he said. The words were simple, but they were heavy. I wiped my eyes. "I am sorry," I said. "For what?" he asked. For leaving, I said. He shook his head. You did not leave me, he said. Life moved you. I closed my eyes for a moment. I saw us again. 2 children, 1 street, 1 promise. When I opened my eyes, he was still there, 30 years older, but real. I am glad you are here now, he said. So am I said. I smiled through tears. The past did not hurt anymore. It felt gentle, like a hand on my back. I realized something then. Some memories wait for us. They do not get angry. They do not leave. They just wait. And when we are ready, they come back softly. After a while, we stopped talking about the past. Not because it was gone, but because the present was waiting. Tom leaned back in his chair. He let out a slow breath. 30 years, he said. That's a long time. Yes, I said. It is. I looked at him. He looked older now, not weak, just real. What did you do after I left? I asked. He thought for a moment. I stayed, he said. I finished school here. I nodded. I worked many jobs, he said. Some were good, some were not. I listened. I moved once, he said, but I came back. Why? I asked. He smiled a little. This town knows me, he said. I know its sounds. I understood that. And you? He asked. I took a breath. I left, I said. I went far. He waited. I lived in big cities, I said. I changed jobs. I did not say more. Was it easy? He asked. I shook my head. No, I said. That word felt honest. I told him about long days, late nights, quiet rooms. I told him about trying to be strong. He listened. He did not interrupt. I wanted many things, I said. Some did not happen. He nodded. Yes, he said. Life is like that. I asked about his family. I have one, he said. A small one. He showed me a photo on his phone. A child smiled at the camera. A warm smile. She looks like you, I said. He laughed. I hope not too much, he said. I smiled. I never had children, I said. The words stayed in the air. Oh, he said. There was no pity in his voice, only care. Do you regret it? He asked. I thought for a long time. No, I said, but sometimes I wonder. He nodded slowly. I wonder too, he said, about many things. We both looked down. 30 years sat between us. Jobs, people, choices. Some were ours, some were not. I thought life would be clearer, I said. He smiled. So did I. We laughed again. This time it was soft. Do you remember what we wanted to be? He asked. Yes, I said. You wanted to fix things. And you? He asked. I wanted to draw, I said. We went quiet. I still fix things, he said, just not big ones. I still draw sometimes, I said, just not every day. That counts, he said. I looked at him. You sound like you believe that, I said. I do, he said. I felt something ease inside me. Outside, the sky was darker now. The streetlights came on. We had lived many lives, not the same ones. But we were still here. I am glad we can talk like this, I said. Yes, he said. Me too. He looked at me with steady eyes. We did not fail, he said. We just lived. I nodded. That felt right. For the first time in a long time, I did not feel behind. I did not feel lost. I felt human. The sky outside was dark now. Streetlights shone on the road. The coffee shop felt quieter. Our cups were empty. The radio played a slow song. We both knew the time. Tom looked at his watch. I should go, he said. Yes, I said. So should I. We did not move right away. Some goodbyes need a moment. He stood up first. I followed. We walked to the door together. The sound of the street came in. Cars, footsteps, night air. We stopped at the door. For a second we stood very close. I am glad I saw you today, he said. So am I said. That was true, more true than I expected. He hesitated, then he spoke again. "Can we meet again?" he asked. The question was simple, but my heart moved. "Yes," I said. "I would like that." He smiled, not the smile of a boy, the smile of a man who understands time. We stepped outside. The night was cool. The street looked calm. We stood under the light. "I live near the river," he said. "Not far." "I will be here for a few days," I said. "That's good," he said. We nodded. No promises, no big plans, just space for another meeting. He put his hands in his pockets. I held my bag. For a moment I thought about a hug, but we did not do that. We did not need it. Some feelings do not need touch. "I should go this way," he said. I nodded. "I go that way." We looked at each other one last time, not like children, like two people who remember. "Take care," he said. "You too," I said. He turned and walked away. His steps were slow, then steady. I watched him for a few seconds. Then I turned too. I walked down my street. I did not look back. Not because I did not want to, but because I did not need to. I felt full, not heavy, not sad, just full. The past did not pull me anymore. The future did not scare me. I thought about that promise long ago. I will come back. I did come back, not as a child, not to stay, but to see. And that was enough. Some people walk with us for a short time, some walk with us for years, some leave, but they never disappear. They live in our memories, in our voice, in the way we look at the world. Tonight I walked alone, but I did not feel lonely. I felt quiet. I felt thankful. I knew one thing clearly now. Not all reunions need a new beginning. Some are here to give peace. And sometimes meeting once more after 30 years is already a gift.